Thank you very much, Ma. Right now, we are going to be taking a question and answer session, okay? So we have someone that is a trained guidance counselor, right? And then we also have our panel that talked. They are still around. If there are any questions that you would have for any of them or for her specifically. Now, we're talking about choosing a career path, and she has just given a broad overview on what we are supposed to do. First of all, we are supposed to be passionate about what we want. Second of all, we are supposed to have the ability to do that. Now, there are two major divides when we go into senior secondary school, which usually now charts the path for what we are going to study in the university. We have the arts and the sciences. I want you to talk a little bit about that, okay? Tell us about the arts and then what careers we could end up with in the art space, and then for the sciences, what careers we could end up with in the science space. And now when we're talking about careers, right, we would like you to tell us careers that we could actually have opportunities here in Nigeria. Now, there are certain courses that you want to read, right, that could sound interesting. Like you say, you want to be an aerospace engineer, okay? It sounds good, and I hear that there are places where you can study that in Nigeria. But at the end of the day, you study aerospace engineering in Nigeria. What are the job opportunities for something like that in Nigeria?
Thank you very much, sir. Well, I am an advocate of relevance. Whatever you are doing, whatever pathway you are going to, be sure that it is relevant. There are a lot of fancy career paths. I am an advocate of STEM. Please, you should put this down, most especially if you're still in secondary school. If you're in the sciences, then you should be looking at career path in STEM, S-T-E-M. S is for science, T is for ST, technology, E is for engineering, and M is for mathematics. If you're picking any career path, it has to be this. I'm not saying it must, but if we're talking about career paths that are relevant, then it has to be STEM fields. The software engineering, data science, artificial, cybersecurity, aerospace, biomedical, and then the telecommunication. Career, it mustn't be this, but if the career you're looking at is related to all of this, you know that for the Nigerian economy, it will be very relevant even in the next 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Now, aside those in STEM, the next one is for those in the business and finance. If you pick any career path in the business line or in the finance line, of course, it's going to stay, it is relevant, it has been relevant, it will stay relevant, and it will continue to be relevant. So that's investment banking, financial, digital marketing, entrepreneur, and all of this. The next one, career path in healthcare. That's the medicine, surgery, pharmacy, nursing, all of this. If you're, whatever career you're looking at right now, if it's within this range, then you know you're on the right track. Now, I'm talking about Nigeria. I'm not leaving out traveling or going abroad. If your parents have the means to sponsor you or you have sponsors, beautiful. But in a particular situation whereby you do not have or your parents do not have what it takes to take you abroad, you can actually stay in Nigeria and be super successful. Good thing, everybody from the first speaker down to myself, we all did our university education, that's our first degree in Nigeria. So it doesn't put you at a disadvantage. The next one, please. The creative industry is one super industry that will keep evolving and getting better. The graphics, the digital media and animation, music production, film. If your career is within this line, then you're sure that it is super relevant. The next one, skilled trade. I'm sorry for those in first service, I didn't talk about this one. Skill, you can't take away skill. Skill is one good thing that will put you, it will put you at an advantage where when someone is talking about just one, you'll be talking about 2, 3. electrical engineering, plumbing, carpentry. Now, somebody will see carpentry and you'll be like, Jesus Christ, what's she saying? Studying all of this, it doesn't mean that you must practice. We'll talk about that much later. The next one, please. And then there are emerging fields. These particular fields, they are not really known, but going into them is a good thing. It's something to consider. And that's fields within the renewable energy, environmental science, climate change, mitigation, digital, e-commerce, online education, digital content creation. So if this is just an eye-opener for some of you, for a lot of you, you know all of this already. If already you've made your choice, please, after all of this, go back home and do a check. Do a check on all of those your choices. Are they relevant? Will they be relevant today? Will they be relevant in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years? If your answer is yes, beautiful. If your answer is maybe, then you may need to do a reappraisal on your career choice. Is that clear? Good. The next one, please. To explore careers, you can do that online. Of course, now the world is very global right now. In the past, you would need to, professionals, they are seen as Lord of all. But at a tip, just at a click, you can get any kind of information you want. Attend fairs, please, attend fairs. If you hear of any career fair, go for it. I'm glad that the church will be doing ours very soon. Please take advantage of it and ask questions. Don't keep quiet. Seek guidance from your school. If your school does not have, because not every school have guidance and counseling units, seek guidance from professionals. Participate in internship or vocational training, and then join clubs. Join clubs that will help make you better.
My sister, thank you so much for what you said. I just want to add this word to you. I think it's functional education. I need us to understand the place of functional education when you mention the creative industry. There's a big problem. Every young...
We have some questions here. This question, I think, is a question that is a lot of people ask. What do you do when your parents want you to study what you do not want to study?
Of course, it's a recurring question. I see this almost
all
every
the
day.
time. Mm-hmm.
Yes, all the time. Well, the truth is we have three categories of students. We have students that are very sure. They know what they want to do. They have the backing of their parents. Their parents support them. The second category of students, they are those students that, they are not here or there. They have interest. They have things that they want to do, but they are not sure. And then the last one are the very confused one. Now, these ones, I'll put them in my class B. I do categorize my students. I put them in three categories. Now, in a situation whereby your parents are putting their front in a particular field, well, because they are your parents, you may not have an edge over them. But what I do with my students is that I invite those parents. I have a one-on-one with them. Make them understand that, okay, we can actually get a middle point. And then so far, it's been successful for me. If you are not my student and you are in this particular situation, look for a responsible adult your parents listen to. Yes. Yeah. There must be 1, 2, 3 people in your family or in the church. There must be somebody you can go to, tell them your problem, and then let them have a talk with your parents. Now, your parents would need for your parents to agree with you. They will need to be sure that, okay, this particular one you want to go for, you have your reasons. So that is just it. But you may not be able to convince your parents, because that's what I've seen. Unless, as the guidance counselor, I step in and then parents will be like, okay, let's give it a try. Talk to someone, please.
But I think what is really, really important here, right, is that you need to know how to present your case. We are living in a world where you guys are now getting to the point where you are taking responsibility for your lives. So if this is something that you really want to do, if it is something that you have prayed about, you are passionate about, like she said, there are ways around it. So your parents are saying no, try and find a way. Get somebody that you can do. Don't just sit down and just accept it. Okay?
At the end of the day, it is God. God is always the source, is the vocal point, because he's the one that will make the difference for you. Is that clear? So tell your neighbor, God makes the difference. Say it again.
God makes the difference.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.